All of the heavy topic. I have, when I was researching some stuff, I was looking at a story came online, Santrell, and I want our parents to be careful and pay attention to what's going on with their kids because there's a Facebook challenge out there encouraging kids to disappear for 48 hours. This started in Britain, and they were doing it because they said they wanted to see the kids to see how many likes and follows they got or how many people were missing them and whatever. And then the US, us being who we are, we had to up it up an ante. So we
Wow.
started the challenge called Game of 72. So it went from 48 hours to 72 hours. And I'm just sitting here trying to think, what's exciting about this game?
Exactly. I mean, I'm trying to think, did the person who came up with this idea think that, hey, something could happen to that person who's gone missing for 48 or 72 hours? It just shows you, Cherry, like we've been talking about parents. We know that you want to give your kids room and allow them to be independent, but we cannot leave them to their own devices because look what's out there.
I know
Look what's out there. So parents, beware.
it's crazy because I'm telling you right now, when mine were little, you 5 minutes, I'm like looking
Hey, that's
cross-eyed,
right.
like where you at?
That's right. I have a 25-year-old, and it's the same thing. I'm like, everything okay?
You remember when we were growing up?
Hey,
We had to be on that in that yard before
that's
the
right.
street lights
We
came
were sitting on the porch, right?
I'm
That's
telling you,
right.
and it's just crazy how 5 and 6 year olds got telephones. What do you need with a
Right.
telephone?
Exactly.
Who you calling at 5?
Exactly. Again, I don't think there's certain things that kids don't need at all. And again, we cannot leave them to their own devices. We have to be plugged into our kids as often as possible, as much as possible.
I know the times have changed from when we were growing up
Sure.
and our kids were younger, but it hasn't changed that much where you need to have a 5 year old armed with a cell phone that
Right.
can get on Facebook. First of all, why you got a Facebook page at 11? I think we did
Yeah,
that
no.
about a couple of weeks ago. We
That's
talked about
right.
how the age is between 11 years old when they start to have a cell phone and can
And-
get on social media.
Yeah, no. We didn't allow our kids to get on that early, and some may say, "Oh, you're limiting your kids" or anything like that. But there's just some things out there that we don't want to push them out to. There may have been predators out in our generation, but it's even worse now. So I'm not throwing my kids out there at all. No way.
I'm telling you. Now, when we come back, we're going to be talking about a man's worth, super women, and knowledge is power, and family ties. Don't go anywhere. We got a great show for you. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Sensation Station Network.
Say about that.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl. School zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah. Street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
1 in 7 Americans will struggle with addiction during their lifetime. Want to know how you can help? Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to help turn addiction around. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl. School zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah. Street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures. A stop for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Y'all need anything else?
Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. We have a great show talk coming up for you right now. We're going to be talking about a man's worth, and this is where I want you guys to comment. If you're looking at us on Facebook through the Sensation Station Network, go ahead and write your comment in the comment section, and we'll get to you. If you're listening to tune in or you're driving and you want to call in, you can do it at 678-613-5857, and then we'll get to you there. Now, earlier we've been talking about different things that happen with, I guess, our men, our ladies, and so forth. And we're going to start off with bullying and talking about a little bit about it so we can tell you how it segues into our main topic today, domestic violence. So, Santrell, can you give us a definition of bullying again, and then some characteristics of it?
Absolutely. So the definition of bullying, we know that it can be physical or verbal. When it's physical, it can be against another person, against their things, somebody keying your car or something like that. Verbal can be via email, via voice messages, things like that. Cyberbullying is one of the big bullying problems that is out there. Thank you, Cherry. Bullying problems that's out there. People posting comments to your social media. So it's a continued attack against someone, but it can also at the same time be that person who wants to do it singularly. Right. It's just, I want to have power over you at this one moment. Yeah.
And what we learned when we were doing the research for the men, which we thought was really interesting, that they are the ones that get cyberbullied more than anybody,
right.
And it's from the women.
I know, right?
And a lot of guys don't report it.
Right.
They don't talk about being bullied and so forth because they feel like people would question their manhood.
Yeah.
And our biggest thing is for the guys to let you know that, it's nothing wrong with telling people that you're being bullied. We need to stop it. So in order for us to help you, we have to be able to know that you're being bullied.
That's right.
And then there were some characteristics, right, that we have that they said to look out to, or signs that that someone's being bullied.
Yes. And actually, these were relative to a child, but I think that they apply to adults as well. People who are all of a sudden, you may be an outgoing person and you start to become more inward. You're sleeping more. That may be a sign of depression. You're keeping to yourself. You may have unexplained injuries. It may be somebody a bruise on your arm where somebody grabs you or something like that. Nightmares, believe it or not, it's interrupting your sleep. So there are a lot of signs that we need to be aware of.
Which can also cause you to have anger issues. You can become angry, and
Absolutely.
the only way you know how to lash out is to, become the bully.
Absolutely.
So we had some characteristics. I think we're just going to give you a few of them. And again, guys, you can go on to our YouTube channel to find out more of this information. But we just wanted to touch on a little bit before we get into our main subject. What were some of the things that they were talking about?
Yeah, some of the types they were talking about. There's that narcissistic bully. It's all about them. We've all, I'm sure as adults, we've met somebody who's narcissistic. It's that person who's narcissistic or impulsive. It's like all of a sudden maybe it's something that they've watched on TV and I'm going to do that to so-and-so who I don't like. As I mentioned, physical bullying, verbal bullying. That's when we have to watch what we say. So those are just some of the types of bullying that we can see.
So as you can see, as we were talking about earlier in the shows, previous shows, we were saying that if you don't take care of the attitudes that are happening now, especially the bullying aspect, it can go into domestic violence.
Right.
And I want to give you the bully hotline before we move on to domestic violence. It's 1-800-273-TALK. 1-800-273-8255. If you are being bullied or you know someone that's being bullied and suspect someone as a bully. Now, what I want to talk about to our men, and I want you guys to know, we are always talking about, because, this is Domestic Violence Month. Everybody always thinks it's just women that are affected with this, and I want to tell you it's not. We have men out there that who are being or victims of domestic violence, and we had a couple of gentlemen that talked about it openly on the show of how they were bullied or abused by their spouses.
That's right.
And I have a definition here of what bullying is, and I want to read it out to you. It says, domestic violence is the willful intimidation, physical assault, battery, sexual assault, and or other abusive behavior as a part of a systematic pattern of power and control perpetrated by one intimate partner against the other. It includes physical violence, sexual violence, threats, and emotional, psychological abuse. The frequency and severity of the domestic violence varies dramatically. Now, as you saw when I read that, or heard when I read that definition, it didn't say women.
Right.
It didn't say it was just to women. It's very inclusive. And when we come back, we're going to talk, Centrell, I'm going to give you some more figures that I found out about it. And I was just surprised.
Yes.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Sounds good. Sorry for my flow.
Connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience, an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
I am an American soldier. I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place this first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined.
I am disciplined.
Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
You think you can do this to me? I'm the man up in this piece.
Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. I want to give a quick shout out to Ted Bear. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love your support, and we're going to do our best to get this information out to you. Just before the break, we were talking about some effects of domestic violence as it deals to men. This is where we need your comments. If you're watching us on Facebook on the Sensation Station Network, please go ahead, type your comment in the section, and we'll get back to you. If you're listening to tune in, you can text or call at 678-613-5857. So, Centrell, when we were talking about domestic violence, we always have the misconception that it only happens to women.
Right.
That men aren't involved in it. And that's so far from the truth. From the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, they said that 1 in 4 men have been physically abused, slapped, pushed, shoved by an intimate partner.
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it's a big number, but that's a big number if you think about it.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
and they said a lot of it, they don't report it well, let me read this back. It said nearly 1 in 10 men in the U.S. have experienced rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner, and reported at least one measured impact related to experiencing these on other forms of violent behavior in the relationship, being fearful, concerned for their safety, post-traumatic stress disorder, that's PTSD for those that don't know that, need for health care, injury, contacting a crisis hotline, need housing services, need for victims advocate services, need for legal services, missed at least one day of work or school.
Wow. Wow.
You know, so for me that was alarming because it's like the society has put it so heavy on our guys that
That's right.
you can't show a sign of weakness. And I've said it on this show time and time again. I think it's kind of sexy if a dude can show me that he's emotional.
Absolutely, because I'm getting to see who you really are. That makes a difference. You do not, we need to take that weight. That's a weight that we inflict on men, that you have to be this or that. You have to be the rough and tough guy. And if you show your emotions, you know, you are somewhat of, what does society say, a punk or whatever it is. That is so unfair to our guys. They should be allowed to be
who they are.
It's who they are.
Yeah.
And you know, we know that we're a combination of each, so there is some softness already in you.
Right.
It's okay for you to let it out. Like you said, it is a sexy thing to see a man who will show who he is.
Yes,
absolutely.
you know, you got to be vulnerable sometimes.
That's right.
Be compassionate about who you are.
Exactly.
And those of you that are running around, oh, I need him to be hard. No, I need you to cut that out. There's something else going on.
Absolutely.
You know, because it's really not fair to put all that weight. But this is the other stat that just really blew my mind, Santrell. It said approximately 1 in 71 men in the U.S. reported being raped in his lifetime.
Wow.
Which translate to almost 1.6 million men in the U.S.
Wow. You know what? We forget. We talk about sexual assault and molestation and things like that. You hear so much of it, like you said, from women, but there are a lot of men who are out there in silence who've had this.
And they're hurting.
And they're hurting.
Yeah.
And it's showing itself in their lives as adults. And we as ladies out there, you know what, we have to stop, because we can be bullies on the slide. Doesn't mean you have to put your hands on somebody. But for instance, if you're in the house, if you have a man who is just a little bit more easygoing, softer, well, it has to be the way I want it. He's going to do this or that. You know what? That's being a bully.
Right.
And your guy doesn't deserve that.
Yeah, and the thing too with fellas, I you know, because with my son, you know, he was raised in a house with 3 girls, 3 women, you know, and I taught him, you know, hey, you have to stand up for who you are. I don't want you to hit nobody.
Right.
But you're not going to stand there and let nobody beat on you either. And they're not going to talk to you out the side of their face and neck either.
That's right.
I mean, because you deserve to be respected. And that's what I need our men to understand. There's a way to get that respect.
Absolutely.
And, you know, command you know, respect without putting your hands on somebody or without going through those extremes. But you should not suffer in silence because, you know, you feel like, oh, my sexuality or my manhood gonna be questioned, whatever.
And I'm the same way, Cherry. You know, I'm a mom to 2 sons, and I have always told them that the mate that you were with, it should be where you guys are building each other up, not tearing each other down. If it is to where, and it's not the physical assault, because we know that that doesn't last as long as the verbal abuse.
Right.
If that is going on, if your partner gives you any indication that that's who they are, it's time to go.
It's time to take flight. Run,
Let it
put
go.
shoes on and go.
And go.
Because if someone is constantly telling you what you're doing wrong versus complimenting what you're doing right,
exactly,
there's an imbalance there, and
That's
you guys
right.
really don't deserve that. And the
No.
other thing that got me, it said 8% of men have experienced sexual violence
Wow.
other than rape. Forced to penetrate someone, sexual coercion, unwanted sexual contact, and non-contact unwanted sexual experiences by an intimate partner at some point in their lifetime.
Wow. That is amazing. You know, what just ran through my head was, you look at these kids who are in college with the hazing and the peer pressure and stuff. Oh man, go be with so-and-so, make her give it to you and so on. That is not what they want to do. So, you know, like I said, we have to give our guys a break and let them know that we care about you.
Yeah, we got to give them. We got to give them support.
We got to give them support.
These numbers are crazy.
They are
even if we go back down to teen dating, it said 13.4% of male high school students report being physically or sexually abused by a dating partner.
Wow.
And I don't want anybody to get this twisted. We're not talking about there being. We didn't say what sex, you know, is violated, and it could be both. I mean, look at these things that come up with these teachers, with these high school students.
Exactly.
That's,
exactly.
okay, that's a form of domestic
that's
violence.
right.
They, violating these kids and
predatory behavior.
right. And I understand the teachers are getting younger and younger, but that doesn't matter. You're in a position of authority.
That's right.
And I could give an example, like when my son was in high school, he had mentioned to me one time where a teacher made him a little bit uncomfortable because when she would walk by his desk, she would rub his shoulders or whatever. And I told him, I said, tell her, don't do that. It makes you uncomfortable. And if you tell her and she does it again, you let me know, then I'll get involved. Because it was making him uncomfortable.
Right.
And I ended up having to go and talk to her. And she said, oh, it's just a term of endearment. I said, well, endear your hands in your pocket.
Exactly.
Because I don't need you touching my kid. He said, don't touch him, don't touch him. It's not going to be one of these, what's that lady named Mary Letourneau or whatever?
Oh, exactly.
That we weren't having that in my house.
No.
So we had to, that's what I'm saying, parents, you got to stay in tune. And fellas, you guys have it rough. You have it rough.
Right, because society says that you're supposed to be this. And when you say, I don't have to, I'm not just this definition of what a man is.
Yeah, you're much more.
Exactly.
And I read, too, about them being stalked. Now, I can believe that.
Yes.
Yeah, because I see it on Facebook. People put it out there. Look, let it go. If he does not want you anymore or she doesn't want you anymore, let him go.
That's right.
And ladies, quit tearing up these dudes' cars, because my thing is, you done beat the man up, you done ripped up his clothes, burnt up his car, slashed his tires. What did you get?
Not a thing. Not a thing.
I mean, about, 10, 15 minutes of gratification.
Exactly.
And then you either going to get some bracelets and a new home to stay in for a minute.
That's right.
Or what?
A vacation that you don't want.
Right. So... Guys, you too, sometimes we got to let you guys know, just back up. Don't keep trying to stay in something that's not worth you staying in.
That's right.
We're going to talk more about it, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, ladies, I got something for you, super women, and then we're going to talk about family ties. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Hi, I'm Viola Davis. Did you know that 1 in 5 kids in America struggle with hunger? Growing up, I was one of those kids. But we can solve this. When we make breakfast happen for kids in our neighborhood, we have the power to end childhood hunger, create bigger, brighter school days, and healthier minds and bodies. Go to hungeris.org and lend your time or your voice.
We're hungry for more.
A message from the Albertsons Companies Foundation and the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
Your health is at stake. Diabetes.
Diabetes, cancer, heart disease. Yeah, right. I'm too young to worry about all of that. Or am I? Millions of Americans are being diagnosed younger and younger each year. I guess it's really no surprise with how much our lifestyles have changed. More fried fast foods, extreme stress from work. 176 million people in North America consume unhealthy drinks. I know I do. Who could be next? My brother? My sister? Me? I think it's time to make a difference, and so should you. Extreme X2O alkaline water, designed to cleanse your body with just 2 simple steps. Shake and wait. Not only will it help clean your kidneys, liver, and intestines, but it also helps with weight loss and anti-aging. Sign me up today. AbundantLifeMovement.com. I better go call my sister to let her know about this. You should really tell a friend too, because is it really gonna kill you to shake and wait?
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on the vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
If you're looking for that ratchet, you're in the wrong place. It's the nation's urban internet station, Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. Just before the break, we were talking about a man's worth, and we're talking about domestic violence and how it affects our men. We also are going to be talking a little bit to our superwomen, family ties, and then knowledge is power. But this is the time we want you to call in or text at 678-613-5857. And if you're listening on Facebook under the Sensation Station Network, go ahead, type your comment in this comment section, and we'll get back with you. Right now, we do have a caller, and we're going to go ahead and let's take this call from our caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, how you doing? This is Jay Green. As you know, I know you, Jerry, for a while, but this domestic violence, I just want to speak on for a little while because my sister, as you know, got killed from domestic violence. It started off slow, and I just want people to understand the signs. You have to really read it. The signs really start off when someone is asking you to be quiet, or not so much putting their hands on you yet, but they'll do it through a voice to tell you to sit down, or I'm going to handle this. And that's when it began to trigger. And it happened with my sister. And it started small, and now she's dead.
Yeah,
so this is true. This is real stuff. And I hope people really listen and understand what's going on, because it's so important, because you can die from this.
You can. And Jay, I thank you for calling in. And guys, I know when we started this out on our first show of domestic violence, I mentioned my friend Vicky that I work with at Walt Disney World. This is her brother. And I really do appreciate you calling, Jay, because like you and like me, that was a very trying time, and it still is. Around June and July, I still get a little bit emotional because she was such a beautiful soul gone too soon. And I know I know the stuff that your family has been going through and what you endure every day. And I really do appreciate you calling in and giving us your input on this, because it's so important for people to understand that. And he's right. It starts off small.
It does.
It starts off small.
It does. And it's just like we talk about bullying. There are just subtle things that you may think, oh, he or she cares about me. That's why they're trying to take over and take care of this or that. And that's not the case. You've just got to be aware of these signs.
Jay, thank you again for calling in, and I thank you for listening. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Jay.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So as you can see, guys, this stuff is real.
It's real life.
And it has to be talked about.
Absolutely.
I know we don't want to talk about it, but we have to talk about it.
We have to talk about it.
Because like the caller, Jay, said, his sister was 27 years old with 3 children.
Wow.
Gone too soon. And man, it was all of us. We were just such a close-knit family at Walt Disney World. We all did stuff to try to help her, but it was the breakdown of the laws.
Wow.
They weren't strong enough. And we've, I'm going to give you guys a stat here.
Are there some...
And it really breaks my heart that we don't have enough support on this. It says that intimate partner violence is common among women between the ages of 18 and 24. That's where it really starts. And it says 19% of intimate partner violence involves a weapon. Okay? And then it says in the United States, an average of 20 people are physically abused by intimate partners every minute.
Wow.
This equates to more than 10 million abuse victims annually. Let's just think about that.
Exactly. Oh, it blows your mind, the numbers, because you just don't realize how big it is. But then at the same time, like you said, we need to talk about this because it is so prevalent out there. It may make you uncomfortable, but it could be your next door neighbor. It could be, as Jay said, his sister.
Right.
We cannot sweep it under the rug anymore because this is real life, folks.
Yeah, and as we're segueing now, we're going to talk to our ladies here for a minute. I want y'all to understand something. Sometimes we think that because of as we said before, the ill wills that we grew up with, the way we were treated somewhat harshly, some of us went through, abuse from home and whatever. We think that we're supposed to accept that type of behavior from our partners. and you're not supposed to. It's not natural and it's not normal. We talked about how when people are checking your phone, wanting to know where you're going every 10, 15 minutes. Right. That's not cute.
No.
I want to give you some things to think about. And this is something we got from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. It talked about, do you think you're being abused? Here are some of the signs. Does your partner embarrass or make fun of you in front of friends or family? Put you down about your accomplishments or goals? That's a big one, Sandra, wouldn't you say?
I absolutely believe it is. Instead of lifting you up and rejoicing in this new thing that you've done, they would rather it not be. It comes from jealousy. I don't want you to be out better than me.
Right.
Yeah.
And though we're talking to women too, men listen, because this can relate
It's
to
the
you
same
as well.
exactly.
Because it's like this. Say we're in a relationship, you get a new job, and all of a sudden I'm mad because you got that new job. Or you think you better because you got a promotion.
Exactly.
You
Who
still
do you
ain't
think
nothing.
you are?
Yeah.
Right.
That's not good, folks.
Right.
That's not good. And then they say make you feel like you're unable to make decisions, use intimidation or threats to gain compliance. That's not love.
It's not. I mean, people think that, oh, when you go out, and again, it can be a man or a woman. Well, he or she will have this. I'll order for them. You know what? That's not a compliment.
That's not cute.
That's not cute at all.
I mean, I can see it. Sometimes guys feel like, oh, I would like to order for my woman. Okay, I want to let y'all know that sometimes it's cute, but don't make it a constant that you have to do that. Now, I've had this said to me, tell you that you are nothing without them.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had that said to me on a couple of occasions, that I would never amount to anything, that I could do nothing without them. I would be nothing without them. And I'm like, okay, then let me miss you.
Exactly.
That's the attitude
Bye.
I had.
What is it? Bye, Felicia.
When I start missing you, I'll call you. I'll get on that. But
exactly. I'm out.
You can't. Come on, man. That is not good.
My existence does not depend on you
at
all.
You know, we got to learn how, like we said way back when we started September 7th, you got to learn how to uplift yourself.
Exactly.
You got to tell yourself in that mirror every day, I am somebody, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Absolutely. And this is why we are talking about the issues that we're talking about, because so many people are not comfortable with themselves. They are not able to be their own best company because of other issues that are impacting them. So that's why we talk about what we talk about, because we want you to be okay where you are.
Because I'm going to ask you a question, Santrell, now. But when we come back off on the air, I want you to answer it for me, because I want your opinion on this. There was something that said that you need to... if a guy tells you to shut up, you need to shut up. It's a woman's place to listen to a man. Don't y'all go anywhere, because I want to know the answer to this. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your...
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And lead the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Adopt US Kids presents multiple choice parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies.
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane!
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. Just before the break, we were talking to our women, super women, about this domestic violence stuff. This is the time, too. I want you guys to call in and give us your comments at 678-613-5857. And if you're on TuneIn, thank you very much for listening. You can text at 678-613-5857. If you're listening on Facebook, go ahead and type your comments in the comment section, and we'll get back with you. And again, Jay, thank you so much for calling in. I do appreciate you calling in and sharing your story.
That takes a lot of strength.
Yes. Now, Centrell, before the break, I had asked you, you know, they said if your man tell you shut up and sit down, you're supposed to obey because he's the man.
And you saw that my face looked like this before we went to break, right? No. You are not to rule over me, and I'm not to rule over you. That is just not in my DNA for you to do that. My DNA is that we conversate, we work together. You don't put a foot on my neck, and I'm not going to put on a foot on yours as far as control is concerned. That is not happening.
But the Bible say that the man is supposed to obey. Did you read that? The woman is supposed to obey. Did you read that in the Bible?
Don't get me started on that, because that is a complete misrepresentation of that, especially when you talk about the word, you know, people like to use that with submission. Mm-hmm. Well, the real reasoning behind that is we are supposed to be in submission to the calls on each other's life.
Right.
Not I'm supposed to be only in submission to you. My husband right now, he is in support of me being here today. I do the same for him because we are in submission to the calls that are on each other's lives. Again, I'm not putting his foot on my neck and he's not putting it on mine. We are in this thing together and we're going to roll together.
Well, you know, and it's always funny because people always use, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, or whatever read or whatever, they always twist the words to fit what they want to do.
Yes.
So treating you roughly, grabbing, pushing, pinching, shoving, or hitting you, threaten to abuse your pets. These are some things that are an indication you may be being abused, okay? Call you several times at night or show up to make sure you are where you said you would be. Now, this maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, I was dating somebody. I came out of work, girl, the dude jumped from out the bushes.
What?
I was like, wait, hold up, why are you in the bushes?
You know, what are you doing?
What's going on?
Exactly.
I wish I'd have known what I knew now, because I really thought something was wrong with him. But, you know, we both were abusive to each other, so it really didn't matter.
Right.
But still, he was behind the bushes. That ain't cute.
No.
Use drugs or alcohols as an excuse to saying hurtful things or abusing you.
Right.
I've always said once they hit you, they're going to hit you again.
Exactly. And
it's never, oh, I'm sorry.
That's right. And what they're saying with that alcohol is what they did not have the courage to say without it. So
I know.
It is what it is. It's the truth.
And guys, these are some disruptive behaviors that are, again, signs that something is wrong with that person. Now I'm going to ask you this question, Sandra. Do you believe before you get involved with somebody, you need to know their background?
Yes. I think it's so important to know, because what they may have seen, he may have grown up or she may have grown up in an abusive household and so on. You need to know what their paradigm is. Where are they thinking from? Right. What is reality to them? You know, you think about if it's somebody that you want to have children with down the road, or potentially, oh, this relationship could be great. Well, what is going on? You need to know what you're going to make with that person. So yes, don't be falling in love 5 minutes after you meet them.
Exactly.
No.
And I want to talk to you when we come back about this guy. It's a prison photo of this dude, pretty nice looking guy, and all these thirsty women out there. Woo woo.
Yes.
I want to talk about that, because that just ain't right, ladies. Don't go anywhere, because we got more for you. We're going to talk about family ties and knowledge is power. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience, an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
I am an American soldier. I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place finish first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined. Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
Enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com. Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies.
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. We're talking about domestic violence, and just before the break, we were talking about just some of the effects that happen that you shouldn't be accepting, the disruptive behaviors of an intimate partner.
That's right.
This also is where we want you guys to call in or text to 678-613-5857. And if you're listening on Facebook, on the Sensation Station Network, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section, and we'll get back with you. And before I go into talking about the effects it has on the family, Jay Green, who called in, also said, he put a statement that says, if your wife or husband, girlfriend or boyfriend push you or hit you, and they say, oh, I was just playing, don't believe them. And that is so true.
That's right.
He couldn't have said anything more true out there, because there's no such thing as playing when you're trying to hurt somebody.
That's right.
And what I want to put out there for our parents, so you can understand how the effects of it is to your children. You know, if your kids see this behavior, dad beating up mom or mom beating up dad, what type of behavior do you think they're going to mimic?
Exactly. Because that is the truth that they know. So when they go out and they're in relationships, even little high school relationships, like we talked about last week, there are a lot of teens and tweens dating, and they are abusive relationships.
Right.
That's how they are going to do. You know, they may say, oh, I'll never do like mom or dad do. I'll never hit like mom or dad, or I'll never be verbally abusive. But that is what they go do, because that thing is all they've seen. That is the truth that they know about how a relationship is supposed to be. So don't be surprised if your teenager is doing something they shouldn't do when it comes to them.
Right, and you know, that's why we said it's so important for you to be really in tune at what's happening with your kids, because it starts out, I see mom and dad doing this, and this is the representation, what they think is love. You know, so our girls grow up thinking, hey, I'm supposed to be hit. That's the only way they love me. My dad hit my mom and they stayed together. They love.
That's right.
And boys think, oh, I'm supposed to hit her to get that respect and that love from her.
right.
And that's not
right.
what it is. You know, we got to be careful with that.
We got to be careful. And let me ask you this, Cherry. What do you think? Because why do people stay in these relationships?
Well, a lot of them stay because they feel like it's no way out.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I'm stuck. You know,
Right.
especially if there's kids involved, and that's the worst thing to do is to stay because you have
Right.
kids, because those kids grow up thinking it's their fault that you stayed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Or they feel like they can't. It's been ingrained in their head and their mind that you can't do anything without me, so they stay.
Right. And a lot of times they may be financially dependent upon the other person and they don't know how they would survive on their own. You know, they want the abuse to end, but they don't want the relationship to end.
And that, you know, and that's a big thing
Yeah.
right there, because I feel conflicted with that, because you know sometimes
Me
I
too.
hear that a lot. It's like, oh, he'll get better, or she'll get better, but I love them.
Right.
Love doesn't hurt people.
Exactly.
Love does not hurt.
Exactly.
And I just want you guys to know that there's other stuff out there for you.
Right.
It's too many women and men in this world for you to get beat
Right.
down and hurt from one.
That's right.
If they're hurting you, why do you want to stay? Why would you want to stay?
Right. That's right. It is terrible because, like you said, they're still in love with them, and they will justify their behavior over and over to their friends, their family, even their children, right? And it's amazing. I sit back and I look at, how do you even have that conversation to say, it's okay that he hit me, it's okay that she did this to me? How does that make, there's something else going on for you to be able to justify somebody harming you.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to what we said from the very beginning. It's that root.
Yes.
What was ingrained to you
Yes.
as a young person.
Exactly.
So parents, we got to be really
Right.
careful of what we're sending, what message we're
right.
giving our children.
That's right.
Because we don't want them to grow up being abused.
Absolutely not.
Don't go anywhere, guys, because this topic is tough. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Deliberate dumbing down. Dumb down society. Deliberate dumbing down of America. Dumb down public. Why would they do this?
Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumbed down.
Hey, this is John Legend.
Hey, what's happening, Master King speaking.
This is Jeremiah. Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Gotta be Sensation Station Network.
There's a power you have within you, unlike any other. You can't explain it. It's just there. It drives you, compels you. You cannot ignore it. Do you feel it? It's that power that tells you you can do the absolute impossible. The power that tells you you're more than what you currently are. The power that tells you it's time. Launch, move, skyrocket your life with Rocket Sports One fitness gear. RocketSports-One.com.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. This is the time of the show that we talk about how you're always on our mind. And we also want to make sure that you know that we're going to be talking about a man's worth, superwomen, and family ties. So right now, what I want to do is send a shout out to Dion Blasingame. He had surgery this morning, so we want you guys to keep him out in your prayer. I want to give you guys a shout out. We hosted we'll put out a few weeks ago about a young lady that was missing in California named Destiny. Want to let you guys know that she has been found and she's back with her family safe.
That is wonderful.
So that's
news.
awesome. Thank you for that. And then we also have our young man that I also put out there, and it's on our Facebook. His name is Julian. He is still missing since September 18th, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that later to give you guys some more information on how to keep spreading the word out till we can bring him home
Absolutely.
safely. And if you guys are listening, don't forget to text or call in to 678-613-5857. Or you can text your comments or type your comments in the comment section on Facebook under the Sensation Station Network, and we'll be able to get back to you on your comments.
We'd love to hear from you.
Sure would.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Sensation Station Network.
Radio 2, Atlanta.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. This is where we say happy birthday to all those October babies out there. I want to give a big shout out to my mom and my father. My mother turned 85, and my dad is turning 86, so happy birthday to you guys. Woo woo.
Happy birthday.
We'll also say happy anniversary to my homeboy, that's a Cowboys fan, Philip and Cynthia Davenport. Happy anniversary to you. And here are birthdays. Sergio Cachuro Aguari from San Mateo, California. John Sullivan from Washington, D.C., Ernest Hargett of Apopka, Florida, APK, Stephanie Muscle Mom McSwine of Atlanta, Georgia. Happy birthday to you. She's turning 50. 50 looks good, honey. Keep doing your thing. Gina Allen from Houston, Texas. Yvette Puegas from Canton, Georgia. Wallace Anderson of Natchez, Mississippi. Robert Cunningham of Memphis, Tennessee. Success McGee of Atlanta, Georgia. Terrell Frost of Toledo, Ohio. Heather Hawes from Atlanta, Georgia. That's a high school friend. Happy birthday to you. Mike Decker of Dallas, Texas. Melissa Benavides of Lubbock, Texas. Jeremy Smalls of Columbia, South Carolina. Mary Talent of Bridge City, Texas. Mario Das of Atlanta, Georgia. E.J. Michael, and then Malik Lee of Atlanta, Georgia. Happy birthday to all of you.
Everybody.
So right now, we'd like to bring what we've been talking about so far and give you some more tips on it. We're going to talk about giving you a little bit of stuff on domestic violence. We're going to give you that domestic violence number, and we're going to continue. And then we're going to talk about breast cancer, give you some stuff on that, and this new movement that's out. And we're going to have Santrell talk about it. So for those of you that feel or think you may be in a domestic violence situation, your hotline number is 1-800-799-7233. And again, that is for ladies, men, children, whoever is being abused or you're in a violent situation. Your hotline number is 1-800-799-7233.
Yes, absolutely. Don't ever be afraid to yell help. And I want to add there that, you know what, not only can that number be used for help, things like a therapist or whatever it is, just ask for help so that you can be whole.
Right. So, Santrell, tell us a little bit more about the American Cancer Society, how they can get some information and so forth there, and then let's talk about this new movement that's out there.
Absolutely. So as we know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month as well as Anti-Bullying Awareness Month. But we will not forget our breast cancer survivors at all. You know, 1 in 8 women can develop breast cancer over her lifetime, and 1 in 1,000 men, yes, men do get breast cancer. So we want you guys to take care of yourself. Please make an appointment with your doctor and find out whatever routine testing testing is applicable to your situation, and go do what they said. If you need any information on resources, the American Cancer Society is a fantastic resource for you. They have a 24/7 hotline that you can reach at 800-227-2345, or you can visit their site at www.cancer.org. And again, even though this is the month for the awareness efforts, we want you to be aware all year round about breast cancer and any other cancer out there, because it's an insidious disease that does not discriminate against anyone.
It sure doesn't. It doesn't matter what your social
That's
economic
right.
background is or anything. Cancer is cancer.
Cancer is cancer. That's right.
So let's talk about this new, well, it's not new.
Right.
But I want you to give the history of it, this hashtag Me Too.
Yeah, so unless you've been under a rock or haven't turned your TV on, there is something that's big out in Hollywood right now that is applicable to the discussions that we're having today. You know, Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein has been, oh my gosh, accused of sexual abuse by, I cannot even tell you the number of people. It's just, it seems like daily it is happening. And so a movement is now out there because, again, we go back to the prevalence of sexual abuse. It seems as now, you know, when we get to where you don't want to say it yourself, but when you see that other people are declaring that they have been abused, you feel emboldened. And that's what has happened to people outside of that Hollywood, that public community, women in the workplace, men in the workplace, at home. Hey, I was sexually harassed. So there is now, if any of you on Facebook have seen hashtag Me Too, it is showing you just how pervasive sexual abuse has been in society. You know, this hashtag, we thought it was by an actress that started it, but actually it was started by a young woman named Tarana Burke. Over 10 years ago, she was a counselor.
2006, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and she happened to notice a young girl who just, her behavior started changing again. Like we talked about before, she was withdrawn and so on, and she tried to comfort her and said, hey, what's wrong? Talk to me. And she started to tell her about all of the ugliness that was being done to her by her mother's boyfriend. And Tirana said she had to actually stop the young girl from talking because she couldn't take it anymore. And so she said that wound that was already there, it was closed for a minute because the young girl was able to talk to somebody finally, but then because she had to send her away to somebody who she felt could help her better, it closed again. And the reason why that happened, she said, is because at that point, she didn't have the courage to say herself, me too. So folks, this is out there, it's prevalent. So like I said, it is now all over the place. And one thing, you know, I watched an interview with her, and it's great that the hashtag is out there and so on, but the question is, you know, how these things can get started with the hashtags and so on, but when it dies down, what is actually going to happen? It's great that awareness is being brought to it, but folks, we need to let you know that this needs to be dealt with on a consistent basis.
Right. We
It
need
really
to keep it
does.
going
we
because
need to keep it going
yeah.
because it's still happening.
And that's why we brought up Destiny Talk, because again,
Yeah.
we want to talk about those things, keep it in your face that are
That's right.
uncomfortable. And when Central, we talked about sharing this story, I went in and I found out since October 18th, and this was written by Molly Rubin from Empowerment Through Empathy. She said since 12 noon on Sunday, the Me Too hashtag has been used 825,000 times on Twitter.
Wow.
And that was Twitter spokesperson told her from CNN. And then on Facebook, 4.7 million people engaged with the Me Too hashtag post in less than 24 hours.
That's amazing.
With over 12 million posts, comments, and reactions.
Wow. And even though that number is staggering, I do believe that the number is higher because there are people who may not want to expose themselves or anything. So what does that tell you that's going on here, folks? We've got to keep talking and got to keep providing resources to people to know, go get some help, take care of yourself. We can't just stop the conversation.
Yep, don't go anywhere because we're going to continue the conversation. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Now we come to the special feature of our program.
Sensation Station Network.
You cannot let a fear of failure, or a fear of comparison, or a fear of judgment stop you from doing what it is.
Let's talk
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, coming to you every Thursday at 1 p.m. on the Sensation Station Network. If you're just joining in, we're talking about domestic violence. This is too where we want you to call in and text if you have a comment at 678-613-5857. And if you're listening to us on Facebook through the Sensation Station Network, go ahead and type your comments in the comment section and we'll get back to you. We're also going to be talking to our women and then our families, and then we're going to tie it up with knowledge is power. So we were talking about how it's always a misconception that men don't experience domestic violence, and it really is an untrue statement that you guys do experience it. You just don't report it as much as women do. But there are, like we said, a hotline, and we'll give that to you again, that you can call if you're experiencing these things. And a lot of things we were talking about, do you think you're being abused or whatever, that replies to you also. But I wanted to give you this, Santrell, and tell me what your thoughts are. It says 1 in 20 of male murder victims were killed by intimate partners, and that's about 5%. They said between 1980 and 2008, in the cases which the victim-offender relationships were known, 7.1% of men were killed by an intimate partner.
That is amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And it just brings to mind, Cherry, a story that I don't even know if I've shared with you. You know I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I remember our across the street neighbor, her son, he was a good kid, high school, did very well, broke up with the young lady, didn't want to be with her anymore. It was his decision. And she actually went back and worked with a couple of other guys, obviously told them lies about what happened in that relationship, and they killed him in such a violent manner. And this was a young woman just fabricating all that against the young man who just decided, you know what, this isn't the best relationship with me. Doing great. So again, there's no age limit anymore, it seems.
Right, and you hear so many times about NFL players that were killed, by their significant others. Sometimes the situation wasn't all that great. They were married and had extramarital affairs, and that's another subject all on its own. But the fact is that they were still killed by an intimate partner.
That's right.
And then you leave a lot of destruction behind. So, fellas, how do you get out of that type of environment? How do you get out of that type of relationship if you've been in there for a minute? Now, if you see it's abusive starting out, walk away quickly.
That's right.
But what do you do?
That's right.
When it's already in and you just don't know how to get out.
Right. And there are some people, we've seen the stories, that because when you talk about relationships, people say, oh gosh, what are your deal breakers? I have seen different stories where, and I'm not saying that this will work for everybody, where they were able to go get counseling and deal with things, and that abuse never happened. Everybody's situation is going to be different. So, if it were me, I'm like you. I'd have to go, because I would just be so cautious that it's going to happen again. I'll go my way, you go your way, you get yourself together over here. We don't have to be together while it's happening. But you've got to get away, because the results are too tragic. Like your friend, there are children who were left behind, right? She didn't see her grandchildren.
Right. And you guys, it's really serious, and we'll talk more about it. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression.
My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
And will give someone in my community
a second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Sensation Station Network.
This is my Mac Daddy vibe I'm giving you in all of its splendor. What's up?
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
There's a power you have within you, unlike any other. You can't explain it. It's just there. It drives you, compels you. You cannot ignore it. Do you feel it? It's that power that tells you you can do the absolute impossible. The power that tells you you're more than what you currently are. The power that tells you it's time. Launch, move, skyrocket your life with Rocket Sports One fitness gear. RocketSports-One.com.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The world is changing. And we are change. Sensation Station Network. Radio dumbed down.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. I want to thank everybody who has been tuning in so far. Hardcore, Jay Green, Ted Bear, Petula. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I really do appreciate you guys commenting. Still comment, still share. If you're listening to us on Facebook at the Sensation Station Network, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section and we'll get back with you. If you're listening to tune in or you're wanting to text or call us, it's 678-613-5857. Really do appreciate you guys' support.
Yes.
Before the break, we were talking about domestic violence with our guys and how some of them are losing their lives, and it starts early in teenage life. And if you're in a unproductive or a violent relationship, how do you get out of it?
Right.
You know, again, the way I can stress that is calling your domestic violence hotline.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because sometimes it can lead, like Santrell shared the story about the teenage boy that got murdered. I mean, this young lady lied, got some guys, I don't know how she got enlisted guys to come in and to help them do what they did, but it's unfair.
Absolutely.
And too many times it goes on quiet and not said or spoken, and it's a lot of murder-suicide because sometimes they do, well, this girl she didn't want to die, she just wanted him to die.
Exactly.
What was the purpose?
Right. She didn't want anybody else to have him. He didn't want her, and she didn't want anybody else to have him.
And you know, that guys, that's dangerous. That's really, really dangerous.
That is not love.
No.
It's not love.
So if you're in that relationship where that woman is constantly putting you down, putting her hands on you, wanting you to hit
calling
her.
you names.
Yeah,
and, you know.
walk away. And if you know that you're being stalked or feel you're being stalked or they're contacting you, cyberbullying, They're
Right.
coming out and putting
Ooh.
some crazy stuff because we know that we did the research.
That's
Women are
right.
the worst when it comes
worst.
down to that
That's right.
cyberbullying. You guys need to report that. Save those posts. Save the voicemails.
Right. You need the
save,
evidence.
Save the text messages.
That's right.
And go to the law with it.
That's right.
I mean, unfortunately, sometimes you're going to be looked at, oh, you being weak. No, I don't care. Your life is more important than people thinking you're weak.
You see it almost on a daily basis that somebody who couldn't let go of somebody else, you see what they've done. They've caused harm to that person. They've killed that person. So you need to have the upper hand. Like you said, save the evidence. Don't be afraid. This is not the time for lip service. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to do that. Please do it, because times are different now where you can kind of threaten somebody and they'll leave you alone. No. That people are stepping over that line so often.
And you've got social media now.
Yes.
That's their weapon.
Yes.
When we started the show, I had Santrell laughing because I had someone send me a whole list of what they wanted me to say about this guy, that he was gay, he was doing all this stuff.
Right.
And,
Are you crazy?
And I was like, really, that's not the form of my show.
No, we're
I'm not going to
doing
do
that.
that. I mean, and she was a scorned lover because she was the side chick, and that's another story.
Exactly.
We'll get to that later. But what I'm saying is that's how deep it is.
Right.
This social media can be very detrimental to your health.
She wanted us to be her bullies.
And I just wasn't interested. And my thing, fellas, I know it's hard, but there's women out there who will love you for who you are.
That's right.
You don't have to take that.
Who you can roll with, and it will be a fantastic relationship.
And I tell my son, I told him, and I'm glad he listened. He's 27 years old. And I was like, let me tell you something. You do not need a woman coming to tell you what you got to do, what you better do. And the first time she raised her hands to hit you, walk away.
Walk away.
Now, don't stand there and let her continue to hit you. If you got to push her out the way to get to where you got to get to safety, hey, so be it. But don't stand there and get beat on. Am I telling my son to put his hands on women and beat them? No. I'm telling him to take himself out of harm's way.
Exactly.
Take yourself out of harm's way.
It's better to be by yourself and have peace than be with somebody and have turmoil.
Right, because
Absolutely.
where's the peace when someone keeps telling you what you are and what you're not?
Right. There is none.
And and unfortunately, like we said at the first half of the show, fellas, you guys got it bad because society has said you're supposed to be Iron Man, strong man. You ain't supposed to show no sign of emotion, no weakness. You better not cry.
No, better not say you hurt my feelings.
What?
Oh no,
Better not do that.
No,
But
But we're here to tell you it's all right.
it's okay.
Go ahead and do it.
Real women respect men who can show emotions. Real women respect men who aren't afraid to tell them what's going on in their lives. Real women like real men who can say I'm sorry and mean it and do something to change it.
Absolutely.
Saying you beat me down and saying I'm sorry and then 2 weeks later I get another beat down, that's not real love. That's not true.
Absolutely not. Vulnerability, whether it be from a male or a female, is not weakness. It is strength.
Exactly, because you're going against the grain. You're letting people know who I am. I have feelings. You're human. You have feelings.
That's right. We are multifaceted. None of us are this one way all the time. There are different layers to us, and we have to be able to live within them and not be criticized for them all the time. Forget what society's definition is.
Yeah, because, that's, again, it's a form of bullying.
Absolutely.
That can lead into domestic violence. That can lead into someone's life being lost.
That's right.
And understanding why victims stay. And a lot of them said they're not unsupported by family and friends. There's no support there. Victim feeling that the relationship is a mix of good times, love and hope, along with manipulation, intimidation, and fear.
That's right. And even culturally, we have to understand, too, that in some cultures, staying in abuse, you need to stay. It's okay. No. And I know that it's easy for me to say if that is a culture if that's subscribed by your culture, but you don't have to stay. You don't have to stay. That's why so many are losing their lives.
Right.
Leave. Do what you have to do.
Now, if you want to know and if you want proof that domestic violence is real in the man's world, watch the episode of Snap. Just go watch Snap.
That's right.
It will break it down for you and let you see that men are victims just as much as women. And we need to make sure that you guys understand that. But don't go anywhere, because when we come back, ladies, got something for you. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. I want to be a warm place on a cold day. Football stadium. I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Your health is at stake. Diabetes.
Diabetes, cancer, heart disease. Yeah, right. I'm too young to worry about all of that. Or am I? Millions of Americans are being diagnosed younger and younger each year. I guess it's really no surprise with how much our lifestyles have changed. More fried fast foods, extreme stress from work. 176 million people in North America consume unhealthy drinks. I know I do. Who could be next? My brother? My sister? Me? I think it's time to make a difference, and so should you. Extreme X2O alkaline water, designed to cleanse your body with just 2 simple steps: shake and wait. Not only will it help clean your kidneys, liver, and intestines, but it also helps with weight loss and anti-aging. Sign me up today. AbundantLifeMovement.com. You know, I better go call my sister to let her know about this. You should really tell a friend too, because is it really gonna kill you to shake and wait?
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. Just before the break, we were talking about a man's worth. We're letting you know about domestic violence and ways that you can protect yourself. This is also, guys, where we want you to call in or text your comments to 678-613-5857. And if you're listening on TuneIn, you can also text to 678-613-5857. If you're listening to us on Facebook on Sensation Station Network, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section and we'll get to you. And Chris Ward, thank you so much. That's a high school homie for joining us. I really appreciate it. You know, Centrell, when we were talking about the different things about men being victims of domestic violence, I mentioned the show Snap. And a lot of the episodes on Snap, they are because the woman is fear of losing custody of their kids.
Wow.
Or their way of life, their lifestyle.
Isn't that something? The things that, and you know, I'm not trying to downgrade what anybody feels, but the things that we put value on, you know what? My life is more important than the house that I live in or anything like that. You gotta get out of there, man.
Yeah, and you always hear it's cheaper to keep her or it's easier to stay. No. Your life is worth more than someone, you know, being there constantly abusing you, and you have to be afraid to go to sleep. Well, in the break, we were talking about you had a friend that went through something like this.
I did. It was a male, and the funny thing about it was his wife happened to be in the social work arena. So this was somebody who knew how to help people, or was supposed to be there to help people who were in that position, but actually took that knowledge and used it against him because she knew which buttons to push. She knew the sensitive areas. She knew it wasn't a physical, there was never any hands put on anybody else, but it was that slow but steady, consistent verbal breakdown, that messing with your psyche and so on. And for years, it was like, hey, what's going on with you? But she knew what she was doing. I mean, thankfully, they've dissolved things, but that put that person in a very difficult position. And the same thing, because he was a man, it took him so long to admit. It was only until they went to counseling that they said, you know what, this thing here is not going to work because there is abuse going on. There was no salvaging it.
And you know, it is sad because you hear about that so much from our men, you know, and I, you know, being a mother and having a son, I wanted to make sure that he understand you are valuable.
Absolutely.
You know, and he understood his worth.
Yes.
And men, I want you to understand what your worth are. You are needed.
Yes.
You are so needed.
Yes.
You know, most of the times you are the representation of what our young ladies will look for in a man.
That's right.
And if you're broken, that's what kind of person she's going to get, is a broken
That's
person.
right.
I'm not saying you got to stand up and, you know, roar, you know, whatever, but
Right.
I need you guys to be more in tune. And as we were talking about things that if you thought you were being abused, there was one here that I wanted to ask you about, Santrell. It says, there's two actually.
Okay.
Blame you on how they feel or act,
Wow.
and then pressure you sexually for things you aren't ready for.
Isn't that something? And I could see where a mate would want to, oh gosh, what am I doing that's causing them to feel that way? It's my fault. Well, you know what? In the end, it has nothing to do with you. They need to go get themselves together, go get some help, and resolve the issues that are causing them to behave that way. Absolutely.
And let me tell you something. If you break down and do things that you don't want to do because that's what the other person want you to do,
Absolutely.
that's another tactic and another way of them breaking down your identity.
Yes.
Identity.
Yes.
You know what? We have a comment Chris has put on there. I've actually been through something like this.
Wow.
You know, Chris, thanks for saying that.
Thank
and
you.
it's really hard for you guys because you, like we said, society says you're not supposed to say anything.
That's right.
You're just supposed to let it happen. No, you're not.
That's real. And
You
we
know,
applaud your courage.
I applaud you for sharing that because again, this is a tough thing to talk about.
Yes, it
Nobody
is.
wants anyone to know
No.
that they're getting abused,
No.
especially a man.
No.
You know, and then I wanted to say they prevent you from doing things with your family.
Wow.
They come in and they'll cause that hate and discontent to separate you from your family. That's a sign of abuse, guys.
It absolutely is. And they may put it off as, oh, it just needs to be us. You know what? No, because when you got me, there was a whole package. When I got you, there was a whole package.
Now, I'm not saying have your family and your business. That's not
No,
what I'm
that's
saying.
right.
But they
That's
shouldn't
right.
tell you can't. Oh, I don't like your sister or your brother. You can't
Right.
talk to them. That's craziness to me. And then Travis, one of our listeners, he said no one wants to get involved. It's true.
It's true.
No one wants to get involved, and that's why we're involved today because I'm out here to be your accountability partner.
That's right.
I'm your police because I'm going to keep these topics
That's right.
in your face because domestic violence. There's no way that. What did we say earlier? What was how many? 20 million. Let me see if I can find that. I think it was like 20 million.
Exactly.
They said that calls that come in for domestic violence. We shouldn't
Right.
be having that going on.
No.
This stuff isn't new,
No.
but we need to put an end to it,
And
or
it's
we
like-
need to slow it down.
That's right. And we know that it's generational oftentimes. It just goes on, and somebody has to say stop. This person I was telling you about, who the spouse who was the social worker, what he learned through therapy, again, therapy can be a good thing, folks, don't be afraid to go, was his ability to accept that situation was because of what he saw growing up, that the woman was the abuser. So that's what was normal to him.
Right.
And before he knew it, that's a situation that he was in for a long time. And again, he went and got some help. So guys, it's okay. Get the help that you need.
And you know, one of our listeners here, Travis, said police even dread getting those calls. You're right.
They
And
do.
The statistic, and I went back and found it. It said in the U.S. an average of 20 people are physically abused or by an intimate partner every minute.
Wow.
That's 20 people every minute.
Wow.
That are being abused. And then it says that equates to more than 10 million abuse victims
My gosh.
annually. Guys, that number 10 million has to come down.
That's right.
We have to put an end to this.
That's right.
We have to. You guys don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to give you more tips and more information on how to recognize an abuser and if you are being abused. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a
I
cold
want to be
day.
a football
I want to
stadium.
be a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch. Or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie, but Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's, it's time to savor.
Your health is at stake. Diabetes.
Diabetes, cancer, heart disease? Yeah, right. I'm too young to worry about all of that. Or am I? Millions of Americans are being diagnosed younger and younger each year. I guess it's really no surprise with how much our lifestyles have changed. More fried fast foods, extreme stress from work. 176 million people in North America consume unhealthy drinks. I know I do. Who could be next? My brother? My sister? Me? I think it's time to make a difference, and so should you. Extreme X2O alkaline water, designed to cleanse your body with just 2 simple steps: shake and wait. Not only will it help clean your kidneys, liver, and intestines, but it also helps with weight loss and anti-aging. Sign me up today. AbundantLifeMovement.com. You know, I better go call my sister to let her know about this. You should really tell a friend too, because is it really gonna kill you to shake and wait?
1 in 7 Americans will struggle with addiction during their lifetime. Want to know how you can help? Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to help turn addiction around. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
There's a power you have within you, unlike any other. You can't explain it. It's just there. It drives you, compels you. You cannot ignore it. Do you feel it? It's that power that tells you you can do the absolute impossible. The power that tells you you're more than what you currently are. The power that tells you it's time. Launch. Move. Skyrocket your life with Rocket Sports One fitness gear. RocketSports-One.com.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane!
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. Just before the break, we were talking about domestic violence and the effects of it and giving you some tips on how to deal with it. We also want to let you know this is the time we want you to call and comment. Keep your comments coming in and text them in. If you're listening on Facebook and you're at the Sensation Station Network, go ahead, type your comments in the comments section, and then we'll get back with you. And then also, if you're listening to TuneIn and you want to text it in, go ahead and do it at 678-613-5857. On the break, we got a statistic from one of our listeners, Travis, and he said 43% of officer-related shootings in the U.S. are on domestic violent calls. 37% of cops are killed in the line of duty because of domestic violent calls. That I didn't even know that. Thanks, Travis, for sharing that, because I didn't know that.
Right.
That's amazing. I mean, it's crazy, but
it is. My brother was a police officer for many years, and he said the same thing. You're going there, and it would get to the point where they knew, okay, it's Friday at so-and-so, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so are going to be added or whatever, and that is not something that we need to get used to,
no,
right?
Not at all. And I want to give this out to my ladies so you'll understand why we're saying this stuff is so important. And even though it's a message to the ladies, men, pay attention, because there are things that you could get help on with too. It says 94% of murder-suicide victims are females. I remember when I first, a few years back, there was a killing at the Omni over here by the CNN Center. I actually was working in the building that day and had encountered the guy before he actually did the shooting. We had saw knew, but nobody knew what he was going to do. I also want to give you some of these statistics, Centrell, and I want your opinion on it. It says victims of intimate partner violence lose a total of 8 million days of paid work each year, the equivalent of 32,000 full-time jobs.
I believe that. I believe that, because whether you're a man or a woman, are you going to show up at work with a black eye or bruises or anything like that? Are you going to show up and have to explain your situation?
You know, I can go back to, like I said, when we first started this, and Jay, when he called in about his sister Vicky, how I knew that she was being abused. We were actually getting ready for a show at Disney. We were both muses in the Hercules parade at Disney MGM Studios, and I don't know what it's called now. I think it's Hollywood Studios now. And she came to work with a black eye, and she had gotten there early to try to get her makeup on before the rest of us arrived, but I just so happened to be there.
Wow.
And we kept that it was really like silent, because I helped her put her makeup on and I put my makeup on. We didn't talk about it until afterwards, because the show must go on.
Right.
You know, and then I want to share this with you too. It says intimate partner violence is estimated to cost the U.S. economy between $5.8 billion and $12.6 billion annually. up to 0.125% of the national gross domestic product.
Wow. Yeah, because you think about there are lost work hours, so there's productivity issues, there are services that have to be in place, things like that. So it is believable that we forget that there are so many layers to this issue. The emotional, the physical, the financial. There's so much that goes on in abuse systems, and it's not just in your own home. It becomes a collective thing, right? It doesn't just become personal. What's going on with you, and you're not going to work or this or that.
It's affecting everyone
it's
around you.
affecting everyone and everything around you.
And then they also said from the National Coalition of Domestic Violence, it said between 21 to 60% of victims of intimate partner violence lose their jobs due to reasons stemming from the abuse.
Right.
And then they said between 2003 2008, 142 women were murdered in their workplace by former or current intimate partner.
Wow.
This amounts to 22% of workplace homicides among women.
That is amazing, but on one hand it is, on one hand it's not. You know, when we first moved down here, I remember we live in Henry County now, and there was a young woman who she had put in a restraining order, everything against her mate. She worked at a medical facility. She got off work overnight, and he was waiting for her in the parking lot. He was waiting for her.
Yeah, we have some statistics from the National Coalition against domestic violence for the state of Georgia that I thought was very alarming.
Yes, and I do believe these numbers have gone up. As of the numbers published are as of 2013, that almost 30,000 victims were serviced by Georgia Domestic Violence Services. Almost 30,000 people. And remember, it's the ones that were reported. Right. There are many who are not. And it's not just that man or a woman. There are children that are often involved as well.
So, ladies, what I want to say to you, because a lot of times when we have children and we're in those abusive relationships, we feel like there's no way out of the relationship. We don't know what to do or how to get out of it. And there's help out there for you. There are ways to get yourself with safety. And we mentioned that how sometimes, family is... they don't want to help you. This is sometimes you might have to step away and not rely on your family.
That's right.
And I'm going to give you some red flags of warning signs for abusers. And gentlemen, listen to this too, because it could apply to you. They're extremely jealous, possessiveness, unpredictable, bad tempers. They have cruelty to animals, verbal abuse, extremely controlling behaviors, antiquated beliefs about roles of women and men in relationships. We talked about that earlier. Forced sex or disregard of the partner's willingness to have sex, and sabotage of birth control methods or refusal to honor agreed upon methods.
Wow.
So if you got somebody that's out here, because, I read an article a long time ago where one guy, he was so excited. I think he had like 40-something kids out there. And he was like, as a woman, God put him here to
procreate. Oh my gosh.
And I was like, no. And he would get upset if his women didn't. Like, he had 10 children from one girl alone.
Wow. Wow.
And reading her story, she was like, yeah, I really didn't want him, but, I was in that relationship. You guys have to understand that you have to be keepers of your own soul and keepers of your own body. And I know it's difficult when you're in front or in this type of a hostile environment. We're going to keep giving you some information. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Sensation Station Network. Never achieved before.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction. Invest $49 a month at a real gym. For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech. Your health is at stake. Diabetes.
Diabetes, cancer, heart disease? Yeah, right. I'm too young to worry about all of that. Or am I? Millions of Americans are being diagnosed younger and younger each year. I guess it's really no surprise with how much our lifestyles have changed. More fried fast foods, extreme stress from work. 176 million people in North America consume unhealthy drinks. I know I do. Who could be next? My brother? My sister? Me? I think it's time to make a difference, and so should you. Extreme X2O alkaline water, designed to cleanse your body with just 2 simple steps: shake and wait. Not only will it help clean your kidneys, liver, and intestines, but it also helps with weight loss and anti-aging. Sign me up today. AbundantLifeMovement.com. You know, I better go call my sister to let her know about this. You should really tell a friend too, because is it really gonna kill you to shake and wait?
Welcome back. This is Destiny Talk Live, and this is your host, Cherry G. We're talking about domestic violence, and just before the break, we were giving some information to the young ladies and men out there to how to protect themselves. So this is a time we want you to continue with your comments coming in, and if you want to text or call, go ahead and do it at 678-613-5857. If you're listening on TuneIn, go ahead and text your comments into 678-613-5857. If you're listening to us on Facebook, go ahead and type your comments in the comment section, and we'll get right back with you. Central, when we were talking about this for the ladies, we wanted to make sure that they understood that jealousy, being tracked, being told you have to be submissive, that isn't good for you. And it also starts, problems not just with you, but if you have children in the home.
That's right.
And we were talking about some stuff, and I want you to read some stuff that the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence put out about, I think it says
societal barriers to escaping a violent relationship. One of the things that we were talking about earlier is, if you have a spiritual base, that's absolutely fine, but a lot of times, whatever the religion may be, they may try and use it to make you feel like you have to stay in that relationship. Well, no. That is not love or anything like that. And, I can only speak for myself. I'd be long gone. I would be out that connection.
And, it's hard sometimes because a lot of us that if we've not experienced domestic violence or have not been in that situation, we really don't understand why people are staying. And again, you got to remember that their mental psyche has been broke down.
Exactly.
They feel like there's no way out.
Right.
And by no means are we saying that any of you should not listen to or your religious beliefs, if you have them or you don't have them. All I'm saying is love don't hurt.
Exactly.
And I don't believe that, and it's just my opinion, that God intends you to stay somewhere where you're getting beat down.
Right.
I really just don't think that that's what he intended for it to happen for you.
I absolutely agree. I please do not use the Creator to justify a man hitting me or a woman hitting a man. That is not love at all.
And then as we were talking about it, there were some other things, and I'm going to have her bring that in, but I want you guys to still remember, ladies and gentlemen, you have children. If this isn't just for the people who are getting abused. These are the people who, if you know you're an abuser, we're talking to you too.
That's right.
We want you to know we see you. We know your game. We're going to put it out there, and we're going to try to get you some help also.
Exactly.
So what were some other things that they were saying that could relate to the family and how we can make this family whole again?
Right. They look at, like you said before, my standard of living may change. I may fear losing my children. Your family may say you need to stay with them, or it's inconsistent. This is one thing that I found that was very interesting in that, it's inconsistent abuse, meaning this person is not hitting me, whether it be man or woman, every day. So it only takes something, Friday they had a bad day, and so they needed to let some steam off, and so that's when the abuse happened. But then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, everything was okay. So the inconsistencies, so folks, even if it's not happening to you every day, it is happening to you every day. It's happening to your family every day, because that one day of abuse,
it's that mental, because you don't
exactly, and you're carrying it. You're walking around, I would imagine, fearful. You're carrying that through your behavior in the house. It is setting the tone, whether you have children or it's just the two of you. So it is consistent. It's inconsistent, but it is consistent.
And the sad thing is, because once he get tired of beating on you, or she get tired of beating on you, guess who's next?
Coming after your kids.
The kids are next.
That's
So
right.
you got to really stay tuned to this, guys, and make sure that you're putting a healthy environment for your children and for you.
What are we telling them is normal?
Right. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Lombardi once said that it's hard to be aggressive when you're confused. Some of us think that taking our lives to the next level, both personally and professionally, is a confusing and complicated process. Guess what? It's not, and I can prove it. My book, Truisms, will show you how living your life by rules that are so self-evident and obvious, you'll say, I knew that. This powerful yet short, detailed bestseller is on sale right now, under $10. Go to michaelmcfadden.com. That's michaelmcfadden.com, and let Truisms help you to the next level.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Major key alert. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
This is big business. This is the American way.
Station Network.
See ya.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. We're talking about domestic violence and how it affects the family. This is where we need you guys to comment and, text or call in, and we'll get with you at 678-613-5857. Thank you, those that are listening on TuneIn. If you want to comment, 678-613-5857. And if you're listening to us on Facebook, please go ahead and type your comments in the comment section, and we'll get right with you. We were talking about how it's important for us to be in tune and make sure that we understand what's going on with our families, and that our children, we got to protect our children by any means necessary, because they did not ask to come here. We brought them here. So they're here at our will. So a lot of other things and signs that we see that are controlling, that are signs of an abuser. They're controlling over the finances. They control what you wear, what you don't wear, how you look. If you can't. Now, I remember I was dating this guy a while back, and I think I mentioned this on the show before. We're riding down the street, and I'm just looking out the window, and some guy rode by on the bicycle, and he swore up and down that I was trying to flirt with the guy on the bicycle.
Wow.
So that didn't work out too well, because, like I told you, both of us were like, look, we were a little crazy. That didn't fly too well with me.
Say at another time in your life.
In another time in my life, I was like, fool, who you talking to? Ain't nobody, So that's disruptive. Thank God my kids were not around to see that. Because I just didn't let them in certain environments, because I just knew that I was going to have some tendencies. And there was some other stuff that you wanted to mention about Georgia, right?
Yeah, it just amazes me that 27 counties in Georgia do not have access to domestic violence services. So I can understand why, if someone says, I don't know where to go get help. Well, you know what? There is an 800 line that can get you some services.
And that 800 number is 1-800-799-7233. And also, we're going to go a one step further, even though we're going to put the information about the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. If you go to our Destiny Talk Live Facebook page, we will be posting this information where you can find and do stuff. And then we're going to put down here what I thought was great when they put it out to help our families when you're going through something, is create a personalized safety plan.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I'm going to give you some of the stuff that should be on that safety plan. And like I said, we're going to post it, so look for it. When I have to talk to the abuser, I can put down what you can do to keep that situation, diffuse it some. When I talk on the phone with the abuser, I can. Talk differently, not make them seem like you're being sneaky or suspicious or something like that. Or you can make a code word for my family, co-workers, friends, and counselors, so they know when to call for me for help for me. My code word is. So that, I think that's really cool. You know, so if your kids are witnessing there and, you know, they're going at, you could say something that they know.
Right.
Okay, I need to call 911 because he's about to get it in or she about to do whatever.
Right.
So that's a good thing. Have a code word. When I feel a fight coming on, I will try to move to a place where is lowest risk of getting hurt, such as whatever is at work, at home, or in the public. You got to make sure you put yourself in a situation where it won't let them rear their ugly head. Because I'm going to tell you something. There are prominent businessmen, women, all those type of people that are committing abuse, and you don't know. And, honey, they wear masks so good they can smile in your face.
That's right.
Honey, some of them are deacons in church. Some of them are pastors of congregation.
What do they say? The pillars of the community.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you just don't know that they're violent. I know Tyler Perry kind of brought that out in one of his movies. What was it?
Oh, Medea's The Family
The
Reunion
Angry Black Woman or something like that.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
so it's out there, guys. You just got to look at it. And then they also said you could tell my family, co-workers, boss, counselors, or a friend about my situation. I feel safe telling. Now, I kind of agree with that to a certain degree. You have to make sure that whoever you're talking to is a neutral party.
Yes.
Especially someone that don't know your spouse or know whoever it is you're dating, because you don't want them going back and telling what you're doing.
Exactly, because that can cause a bigger problem for you.
So you got to be real careful, have a discerning spirit at who you share that with, because everybody ain't your friend.
No.
And it's not, social media is not where you put it at.
No.
Okay,
that's not where you need to live out loud.
You can, I can screen my calls, texts, emails, and visitors. I have the right to not receive harassing phone calls, texts, or emails. I can ask friends, families, or coworkers to help me screen my contacts, and I can ask these people for help. Again, be very discreet at who you're reaching out to.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me ask you this, Sherry. When people create these plans and they get out of the situation, what can they do next? Because with the after effects of the abuse.
Well, you're going to need counseling. You're going to need that help. You're going to have to, once you put this plan and you have to execute it, you're going to have to get yourself to a safe place. And I'm going to tell you, there are laws that prevent you from leaving the states and whatever.
That's
So
right.
in your plan, you got to make that plan that's going to be something that is very workable for you and is doable. Know where your police stations are that are close to you.
That's right.
Know, and you know, I've had people, like I was mentoring a young lady who her husband was a police officer.
Wow.
That was doing the abusing. So she couldn't obviously go to the police department or the or that precinct that he was at, but what she was smart about was she took pictures. She was recording
evidence.
When stuff was happening, she hit that button, and I think one time she was telling me that it went live on Facebook.
Wow.
So that ended quickly, but that was just that one incident. You know, there's a lot of things that you can do. So when you create those plans for yourself, you got to make them to where they fit you.
Exactly.
These are just this is just a blueprint, just questions that you could put on there.
Right.
But you got to know what your situation is.
That's right.
You
Think
know?
about, how can I get out of this, and then afterwards, how am I going to take care of myself and my children if they're involved?
And let me tell you something. You can get out of it.
You can.
You can make it.
You can.
If you don't have job skills, there's plenty of things out there to help you get job skills.
Right.
You know, the Labor Department has those type of courses and stuff like that. There's so much that you can do.
Yes.
We don't want you to ever feel stuck.
No.
Please don't go anywhere. We're going to have some more tips for you. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Your health is at stake. Diabetes.
Diabetes, cancer, heart disease, yeah, right. I'm too young to worry about all of that, or am I? Millions of Americans are being diagnosed younger and younger each year. I guess it's really no surprise with how much our lifestyles have changed. More fried fast foods, extreme stress from work. 176 million people in North America consume unhealthy drinks. I know I do. Who could be next? My brother? My sister? Me? I think it's time to make a difference, and so should you. Extreme X2O alkaline water, designed to cleanse your body with just 2 simple steps: shake and wait. Not only will it help clean your kidneys, liver, and intestines, but it also helps with weight loss and anti-aging. Sign me up today. AbundantLifeMovement.com. You know, I better go call my sister to let her know about this. You should really tell a friend too, because is it really gonna kill you to shake and wait?
I am an American soldier. I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place safety first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills. I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
Enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army Strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch. Or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie. But Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special. Sit down and savor. Marie Callender's, it's time to savor.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. We want to thank everybody that has been tuned in
Yes,
today
thank you.
and offered your comments.
Yes.
Chris, Travis, Jay, thanks for calling in. Petula, Ted Bear, all of you guys that were listening
appreciate
in
you.
hardcore. We appreciate it because what we're doing here is trying to make sure that we leave you with something, get you to thinking, and putting your lives in safety. So again, I'm going to give you some numbers, some key numbers. If you think you are being bullied and you want some help, the bullying hotline number is 1-800-273-8255. And if you are experiencing domestic violence, your domestic violence hotline number is 1-800-799-7233.
Absolutely. And for those of you, again, cancer awareness, the 24/7 1-800 number to the American Cancer Society is 1-800-227-2345, or you can also reach them at www.cancer.org.
And a lot of these things, guys, that we shared with you today, like the escape plan, if you're if you're in a domestic violence situation, some tips and warning signs for abusers as well as bullying. We're going to put it on our Destiny Talk Live Facebook page. And also, if you have some stuff you want to talk to us about privately or received an email, you can email us at destinytalklive@gmail.com. Centrella, there's some final tips or a word that you want to give to some of our listeners?
Yes. I want you to know that you are not alone, that it is okay to say, you know what, that hurt, whether you be a man or a woman. Please yell help, because we are losing too many lives. And I don't mean just physically, I mean mentally. We're losing too many people. Please ask for help. If you are a young person who is witnessing issues between your parents, please go talk to a school counselor. Talk to somebody who can help make a change for you.
You know, like we said, just be, have a discerning spirit as to who you're talking to. Everyone is not your friend.
No.
You know, misery loves company, and then you want to be careful at how you share stuff with, because all of us out there aren't pure.
No.
All of us out there aren't here to help
intent
you.
is not pure.
Yeah,
That's right.
so you have to be real careful at how you display yourself and whatever, but don't walk around in silence and hurt.
Yes.
Fellas, I want you to know you are important.
Yes, you
we
are.
need you to be strong men. Not strong in the sense that you got to omit things that are happening to you.
That's right.
But strong enough to know that, hey, I am human, I am somebody, and I deserve better.
That's right.
And
I deserve
ladies,
to be treated well.
Jealousy. Fellas, this is for you too. Jealousy, where you going, checking your phone, that's not love and that's not healthy. You need to walk away from that stuff. If you can, cleanly walk away. If you can't make those steps and those plans to get yourself to safety and your children.
That's right.
And don't ever think that your children aren't hurting because you're hurting, because, listen, when he gets tired or she gets tired of beating on you, guess who's next?
Exactly. It's the kids. And if you have heard anything here and you see it in yourself, if you are exhibiting some of these behaviors and you say, hey, wait a minute, I am demonstrating bullying behavior, or this is domestic violence, we're not condemning you. What we are saying is, find out, go get some help, go speak to a therapist or whomever can help you figure out what the root cause of that behavior is, so you are not the abuser. Get some help for yourself as well.
Again, we wanted to let you know that we are not licensed professionals. Anything that we share with you today is we call it on-the-job training.
That's right.
We're just giving you a blueprint to look into your soul and to find out what's going on in your life,
Exactly.
and maybe find some ways to change some things. And if you are under the care of a professional, please do what
Please
they
do.
tell you to do.
That's right.
We're just here to bring awareness and make sure that you understand that you are special and that you are important,
right.
and that you are valued more than you know.
That's right. We want you to be the best version of yourself.
Exactly. So we want to thank you again,
Thank you.
all of you that tuned in today and listened to us here at Destiny
That's
Talk Live.
right.
We really do appreciate your continued support, and know that we're here for you all the time.
Absolutely.
This is Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.